Welcome to Creamer Media's Resources Watch, a weekly video roundup of the events and people making and shaping the news in the mining industry. This week, hopes rise as top firms arrive at potential flow-through share model to stimulate mining exploration. Struggling ferrochrome needs chrome export tax as interim measure, and profitable circular economy concepts making future potentially bright for coal miners. A flow-through share model has been drawn up with the help of top firms to stimulate badly neglected mining exploration in South Africa.
We went and we presented it to Treasury, and Treasury took a very long listen to this. And I haven't dealt with Treasury before, but a lot of my colleagues in the Minerals Council have, and I'm told that the hearing was a very favourable hearing. Certainly the outcomes and the comments were favourable, and they've given us undertaking that they are going to take this away and they are going to study it, because if it is as we've estimated it, then it is something that's justifiable and should be considered. So given South Africa's position at the moment that we just desperately need economic stimuli, this is one of those things. Is we're not asking government for money. All we're asking them for is a way of unlocking money that comes from the private sector. So it's not government money that we're taking out of their pockets. It's private sector money that we're redirecting through an incentive scheme. And that's why it's a win-win-win.
The struggling electricity-intensive South African ferrochrome industry, which has taken significant strides to increase its efficiency and reduce its electricity consumption, needs urgent steps to be taken to enable it to restore its competitiveness.
As South Africa, we have the majority resource of chromite in the world. Unfortunately, we are in a position where Eskom does put us on the back foot in terms of producing ferrochrome, that is, to competitive levels. We all know the amount of investment, time and effort that's being put into Eskom. We all know the capability of Mr. De Ruyter and his team, and that they are turning Eskom around. However, we know that is probably going to take 18 to 24 months, maybe even 3 years. Hence, we need an interim measure to make sure that we've leveled the play fields with China in order to move the business back into South Africa, start up our furnaces, and run it in this interim time whilst Eskom is addressing their challenges and become again the mighty power producer they used to be in the early 2000s.
Coal mining companies need to start looking at creating their own profitable circular economies around existing coal assets, because it is possible.
One of the big things for me is what's happening with biochar, for instance, and we're finding that carbon in the soil is really where it belongs and where it has belonged for thousands and millions of years in terms of drawdown of CO2 and specifically through plants. So on the coal mine side, we obviously have a big waste issue with coal fines and coal slimes. Those two particular waste streams can be pyrolyzed, where even fairly moist slimes can go through pyrolysis process, which essentially drives off the volatiles and increases the fixed carbon to about 85%. And you then end up with what we would call biochar, or very high form of charcoal. But the biochar, through the process, it creates almost like a sponge, like crystal structure under a microscope. And that is able to hold a significant amount of say, water, or you can use it in compost, and you can inoculate it with efficient microbes, etc. So there's fantastic things we can do in terms of compost and in the soil, and specifically in terms of water retention, that can be very useful on some of these byproducts of coal.
For mining news as it breaks, stay logged on to miningweekly.com and register for our free daily newsletter.